So Rob, first, thank you very, very much for making the time to do this. I really do appreciate the time and the trust. Um, I guess where I'd like to start with this is tell me if you can remember a little bit about where you were in life before you started working with us here at Peak Financial Planning. Like what started the journey of looking into retirement and videos and all that stuff.
Well, probably was 6 months or so before I retired. So I had a marketing consulting firm and I write books. So I was doing it all and I'm like, I'm burnt out. I can't do it anymore. So it's time to retire, but I can't do it because I'm never going to have enough money. How do I do it? So um, that it was about 6 months before I said, okay, I'm going to retire. And I started watching videos, learning, interviewing people, and going through the whole process of, do I need anybody or can I do it myself? That's pretty much what I started.
Yeah. I even kind of remember now, I mean, it's been a couple years we've been working together, but I think I remember this, Rob. You had started working with another advisor, or maybe you had one already, and we don't have to speak poorly or good well of anybody else. That's not the point. Just you had
Right.
another advisor. Was that where you started looking and learning and saying, could I do this myself? Or you determined you shouldn't, you hired that advisor?
Well,
Does that make sense?
I said, let me try somebody. This was in where I used to live, in the state I used to live. And we tried someone and then was not happy. They followed all the same rules that everyone else follows, the 4% rules. Don't do this, don't spend on this, don't do. I felt more trapped with them than I did on my own.
Mm,
So I think it was after about 6, 8 months, I said, I can't do it. I can't work with them. I didn't have that trust factor, and I didn't have the feeling of they're going to be different. They're going to do something different for me. They're just going to follow the rules, take everything, throw it into a jar with everyone else, and let the algorithm do its work and give me money every month. And I did not feel comfortable. So we
yeah.
stopped, took the money back, and then I was right where I started, not knowing what
Yeah.
to do.
Okay. And that's where this part of the journey starts, so to speak, is you start doing more research, saying, okay, I wasn't feeling comfortable in that arrangement. Maybe I'll do this myself. You start
Right.
watching YouTube videos and reading. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. The do it yourself, the DIY part, that was pretty much a joke because what I was going to say is, building the wealth, I can't say it was easy. It's never easy, but it's easier than what you're going to do once you have it and have to live off of it. So
Mm,
I had all the ideas. Oh, I'm going to live off the dividends. I'm going to, take from here, take. And then when push came to shove and I had to do it, I had no idea. Where was I going to take the money from? What about taxes? How's that supposed to work? Um, just there were so many questions trying to find the high paid dividend funds, and I'm going to build it up and build it up, and I got it to a pretty decent amount, but it still wasn't enough to live. So it came to the point where I'm like, I can't do it, can't do it.
mm. It
So
sounds like I have this image in my head of like those Russian nesting dolls. You know what I'm talking about? You open one and
yeah,
then like the
yeah.
list of questions that you're like, oh, it's one question. Then you open that and you're like, oh, there's another question. Every question spawns another
Yes.
question.
Well,
Yeah.
every realization that I can't do it came with one of those talls, right? It was like,
Interesting.
oh, okay, I can get a lot in dividends per month. Oh wait, but there's taxes in there. There's whatever the capital gains, all that kind of stuff. It was like one thing after another would hit, and I'd be like, no, you can't do it.
Mm,
Then I'd go to a video. Then I'd ask the questions. Then I was getting newsletters. Then whatever, trying to get as much information as I could. And there's
yeah.
too much, actually, too much information.
In if I may ask, would you double click on that? You mentioned something I think a lot of people will feel and I think struggle with, which is like um the accumulation felt easier and then this feeling of like, oh, actually figuring out the next step feels harder. What how did you come to that realization? Was it just this list of never-ending questions that spawned, or and what was the experience of coming to that conclusion? Was it in some sense humbling? Was it enlightening? I guess because I think people struggle with that, right? Like sometimes
Right.
people want permission to be able to take the next step, and they feel like, no, no, I have to solve this myself. It's understandable because it's very human.
Well, I actually thought it would be easier. You know, I'd spent 30 years building wealth. So I'm like, okay, so now I have the money. So now I can, there's got to be an easier way, because my father, he lives off dividends, but he's been doing it for 70 years, right?
Yeah,
So he's got the dividends and he has whatever, IBM when it was $2, whatever it is. I don't have those dividends. So we cannot live off of that. But I did think it would be easier to figure out how to live off the money versus accumulate it. And it's not, it's the opposite.
yeah,
And that's when I said, I just I can't do it. Was it enlightening? No. It was anxiety provoking. It was anxiety provoking. And because I'm like, how am I going to do this? I can't retire until I learn how to do it or get somebody to help me figure it out.
yeah,
So that's what that was it. Worry, concern, anxiety, nerves. Because I've always had this fear of ending up living in a box. It's been there since I'm 5. It's here now. And so when I couldn't figure out how I'm going to do it, I'm like, I'm going to run out of money in 5 years and live in a box. That it's coming true.
yeah.
It's coming true. So
Okay.
that's when I said I need help. You know,
Yeah. And so how do we eventually make the jump to where you inquire with me and Peak and all of that? Like what's if you can even remember that
well,
detail?
I think I said to you one day that I couldn't. I can't remember the first video I saw of yours, but I was going through video after video, person after person. I saw whatever video it was, and I think the first thing that struck me was your focus on psychology, right? So it wasn't all about finances. It was about how I think, my fears, my concerns. Then you would talk about guardrails and things so not only did you know where my head was at, but you eased up that, you said things that eased my concern, like, oh, wait, maybe there is a way, and so on and so on and so forth. So you would say things, and I'm like, oh, okay, that concern's taken care of. But I didn't know how I could do it. I knew you could do it, but I didn't know how I could do it. So I think I watched maybe 48 more videos.
How
Seriously.
embarrassing, yeah, for
No, well, I don't make decisions because I don't trust many people. So I don't make
yeah.
decisions easily. So I had to watch and listen, and it kept coming, and I realized that you you weren't like clickbait, right? So it wasn't just like you were doing these videos to sell. You like, unlike so many other people, and this is not just in the financial industry, they do videos with the intention of selling. Sorry about that. You do videos with the intention of teaching,
Thank you.
right? Which is that's another thing I liked, because it wasn't like, just give me your money, I'll take care of it. It was like, here's the information. If you want more, I'm here. And it was good information. It wasn't surface information. So that's why we had our first meeting.
Yeah, I appreciate you confirming. I mean, that's always my hope that the information comes off as productive and teaching material, and I'm glad to hear that that does and continues to be the case. And so let me ask this. This is a more targeted question. Like, so you start with us the same way everybody does, which is a financial planning process unrelated to the investment relationship. Not to disclose, early on, you did tell us, hey, I'm interested in an investment relationship as well. I'm not committing to it right away, but you came and said, I want to understand how the full package works, which is not
Right.
required, but that was how you approached us. But what did you find helpful about the financial planning process? If you can remember, it's been quite some time since we did that initial beginning work, but what did you find helpful?
I don't remember.
Well, that's a good sign that you're enjoying your retirement, and not thinking about everything all the time. Uh,
Well, I think that was probably the thing I got out of it, was that this big chunk of worry is off my plate, right? I don't have to think. The only time I have to think about it is when the market tumbles, right? And you get emails when that happens.
yeah.
Other than that, it was like, because I was looking every single day at the market, at the portfolio, at the whatever.
Yeah.
I don't have to do that anymore. And I think that happened during the financial planning stage. So I'm like, all right, this feels good. Let's just keep it going. And then we got into the relationship, and
Yeah.
here we are.
Well, I am truly glad to hear that helped. I mean, obviously, we went through the normal stuff. We talked about guardrails. We did the normal planning material around how the distributions would occur, how much was safe each month. Now we're obviously many months and over a year removed from that initial process. And so it's kind of like on autopilot in some sense. Although we have had a couple market downturns, and yes, you email me, we make you a video, and we all feel better afterwards. But do you feel like the guardrails concept was helpful in like giving you some easing of the nerves on terms of like how much is safe to withdraw and that type of stuff?
Well, one of the reasons it is so good is because it's a lot more than I thought we could afford. So, I was looking at every little penny, and we're getting more every month than we're living the life we were living before retirement. So, and so far so good. We're still above the S&P, right?
Yeah.
Average. Um, so it's working better than I thought it was, than I thought it could. Um, with the guardrails, with the investments and the portfolios you guys put together. Um, so I'm I'll be anxious and nervous and concerned no matter what. It's who I am, right? It's in my genes. But to be able to have this part softened is, just makes things so much easier. And we'll see what happens at the next downturn.
Yes, and we will have it, and we'll
Right.
we'll we'll wrestle with it together for sure.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, so it sounds like it's I think the key phrase I heard there was you're living the life you lived before retirement, and it sounds like there was fear there, at least maybe from the prior advisor or your own calculations initially, like I don't think we would be able to because of whatever calculus was going on there, and so you're relieved that you didn't have to make a big downshift in terms of lifestyle, in terms
Right.
of experience, and that was the major victory in this process.
Yeah, because the previous advisor made us think you can't keep up this. You can't keep this up. And I'm like, okay, because that's who I am. I get nervous. I'm like, okay, we're going to cut things out. We start cutting this, start cutting that, and there was money left over, right? And there was money to spend. Um, but the fact that we can live the way we were living, and um, you guys do your stuff with the taxes and the capital gains and the long term and the short term, whatever other stuff that I don't understand. So that when tax time came around, I was smiling. I was happy. My accountant says she's got a magic pen, whatever. She has a magic pen, but we also, whatever you guys did, from a tax perspective, helped us out, in the long run, or April 15th. So all that stuff put together makes it just easier for us to keep things going the way they're going, the way
I'm
they
glad
are.
to hear it. And I guess my last question would be just it sounds like you're feeling more comfortable with retirement, especially as the days go by. And obviously there are the concerns and we talk as the market moves. Everybody is anxious about those things. What would you say to someone who's in the same position you were when you were looking to get help with this, who might be struggling with similar things?
Unless you have a background in financial planning and know as much, unless you're an expert, just let somebody else handle it. I know what it's like to give up control. It's not a good feeling. And even, when that money went over into the account for you guys to control, it wasn't a good day and it wasn't a good week and it wasn't a good month because I was used to doing every single thing every single day. But you know what? There comes a time where I have to say, just give it up, just give it up, let it go. And now, I'm glad I did because it makes life easier for us and we can live a life versus sitting there, looking at the screen every single day, wondering what did I do wrong? Right. So I would say let it go, give up control. You'll get used to it.
Yeah. Thanks, Rob. So interesting. It's funny because I don't do a lot of this after the fact, like recollecting with people on what changed in their perception or their experience. Um, but it's interesting to hear you talk about the discomfort in that first month. It's helpful for me to remember to relate to people, like the discomfort people feel in that first month of giving up control, how much trust it truly requires. It's a huge leap of faith. Um, I don't feel like I ever totally lose sight of that, but it's easy over time to like kind of
Right.
disconnect from that. Um, I'm glad you're feeling better. And I mean, I hope it continues to be the case, Rob. I always hope that Joseph and I continue to earn your trust and continue to help you and Chris feel comfortable. And um, yeah, I'm glad that it's worked out as well as it has.
Well, yes, it's definitely it has worked out. I'm happy. We're happy. And you also when you say the first month, right, is tough. Like I would sit there and be like, what are they investing in? What do they do? Because I'm so used, I would never go to those things because I didn't know about them, right? I didn't
Yeah.
know why, whatever. But that's also, and that's why you're good because you understand the psychology of, wow, I never thought what happens during that first month. Like, and it would be nice to be like, have any, and you probably did. Like, if you have any questions, we're investing this, we're doing this. How much? Joseph was always in touch. Let's talk about distributions. How much? That all that kind of stuff. And it just it gives me that cushion of comfort. So
Yeah.
you
Well,
guys are
I
gonna
will
trust
say,
me. Trust. I'm saying you trust me. I was gonna say trust me. I don't trust people. I just
yeah,
don't. That's the
yeah.
world. It's what the world has become. But you guys, you know, even if it's 1 out of 100, I'm glad that you make videos.
Thank you, Rob. I'm glad too.